Hey guys, Short Midget here. First video on my ICS split gearbox DSG build. This is going to be the first phase or step. It's going to be the upper gearbox portion. I'm going to be building this. First, I'd like to say that the ICS split gearbox designs are awesome, and they're very thick up here. This is very, very thick right here. Right there. That is super thick, and it goes all the way back too. And I'll show you a G&P gearbox shell. See how there's a little bit of reinforcement there? But this reinforcement's like 3 times as thick, and it goes all the way back. And it's on the top and bottom on both sides. Well, this doesn't go all the way back because of the screw holes, actually. It just stops right here. But that's pretty dang solid. This is a hefty gearbox shell. Will it crack? I don't know. It has slight radiusing already. I don't know if you guys can see that. Slight radiusing already. So it should last. We'll see if it does. But I'm going to be running a fairly weak spring for, DSG setups. It's really not that heavy. It's only an M160. So, let's get started. I'm going to pull it apart. As you can see, it's missing 2 screws. Previous owner that I got my base gun from, you can complain to him. There were a lot of things that were kind of odd. The motor was totally different, so I'm buying a new motor. So, you'll see that on the lower portion gearbox build. But I just got a cheap Chinese motor. It was not a ICS Turbo 3000. It was not. So I'm buying a new motor because the China motor that was included wouldn't pull anything. So let's go ahead and see what's in here. This is not stock, as I can see already. So I was hoping it was going to be, but it's not. So let's go and open up and try to guess what parts are in here. Okay, so the spring guide is ICS plastic. The spring in here, it looks like a ZCI, sorry, but it's cut. So I'm guessing this is like an M100 power. I have a SHS M120 I could try on it, but I'm going for DSG, so that spring, not worth it. I'll possibly use this in something else, but it's cut, and I don't like using cut springs because a ZCI and an SHS spring that I cut, I cut one. The previous owner cut a different one. They just fell apart, so I don't recommend cutting springs. I recommend short stroking if you want FPS lower. So tappet plate, I don't know if this is the stock tappet, but as you can see, it's bent. Look at that, it's bent. So I'm taking that off, not using that. The nozzle doesn't have an O-ring, so hopefully it'll seal with my new cylinder head. Let's check compression with the nozzle. It's hard to pull out, easy to put in. That's not supposed to be like that, so. Cylinder head is loose. I've seen that with a lot of ICSs. It's a pretty good dampener. This is definitely an ICS stock one. But the dampener is it's big, but it's not thick. These are okay. It's one O-ring. The cylinder is definitely upgraded. This is not the brass, so I'm not sure what this is. Kind of looks like a Lonex. And then the piston here is not stock either. This looks like an G&G Aries. Yeah, it looks like Aries. But the piston head is ICS, and these are crap because there's no ports on it. So that's why the compression is so dang bad. So we're going to get rid of most of these parts. I'm just going to throw them in my parts box because those will not put up with DSG. But those can be used for stock setups. So cylinder of choice. This cylinder. Cylinder head of choice. ZCI aluminum cylinder. The dampener is about twice as thick, almost 3 times as thick, about twice as thick as the ICS, and it's got 2 O-rings. Okay, so it's tight inside there. It's exactly what we want. So it's pretty tight in there. I'm just trying to make the port even, you know what I mean? Yeah, it looks good. So it fits in there nice and snug. So ZCI cylinder head. I'm not putting sorbo on the cylinder head, actually. Just not going to. It's probably a bad idea, but we'll see. Got to clean out the gearbox shell here in a minute. So ZCI cylinder head. Unknown cylinder. I think it's amp or something like that. Let me get a rag and my grease to lubricate this thing. So yeah, that's that. Another upgrade, Super Shooter piston head and SHS lightweight metal rack piston, DSG short stroked. See the compression? That's pretty unstoppable. See how it stops there? There's a little bit of space. So DSG, obviously, it should start compressing there, but it doesn't compress till further forward. That's okay. It's harder to test AOE with the split gearbox, I think, but it looks like it's back as almost as far as my other one was. So compression's pretty good, without the nozzle at least. So tappet plate, SHS, the ICS O-ring, or a nozzle without O-ring, sadly. So we're losing air in the O-ring, or the nozzle. So that's where we're losing air. Because when you take this off, compression's flawless. So we're losing air in the nozzle, so maybe I'll look for ICS O-ring nozzles. Hopefully they sell some. Sorry about that. My parents keep opening doors. They just don't care that I'm making videos. SHS M160 spring. This is fairly old, actually, so, but as you can see, pretty long. So let's go ahead and clean out the gearbox shell and re-grease, though, and then we'll put the thing back together. So total, this gearbox shell, or the upper portion, is pretty much complete. I do have a spare piston for, it's like a super shooter or something with a really old rack on it. So, so it's pretty clean. I'm going to lubricate the cylinder, or the nozzle, sorry, right here, put some on the front here, so maybe that'll help it seal better, that should, and then slide the nozzle on, and then I'm going to do it again. There we go, so let's see, compression is better. Not flawless, though. So then you take some grease on the gearbox shell. Although your piston's not going back very far, because it is a DSG. But I'm still just going to slab some in there. Alright, there we go. And the piston is already greased up, by the way. And the cylinder. And everything in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this thing back together. I am using a standard stock tappet spring. I have modded tappets, so we'll see how feeding works and everything, but I may have to change that. But I'm just going to use the stock VFC and see how it runs for now. So M160 spring is pretty tough to get in here. Keep it pinned down. Gearbox shell. Piston is probably offset. Yep. Which side, though? Other side. Right? It's not shutting right now. It's because the piston is offset. Am I right? Yeah, it's not getting pushed down in the grooves correctly. Got it. So then I'm going to put the screws in. And I can't test it, obviously, but that's going to be the first portion, the first build portion of my ICS. Frankly, the easiest part. I have the lower part right now, and I got some lower parts in. So the only thing that I'm missing for that is a MOSFET, which I'm actually not going to run a MOSFET right off the bat. I'm going to try to field this next Wednesday, and I won't have a MOSFET in by then. So it's a CQB place, semi-auto only, so I'm not going to be letting it rip. So I will be using 11-to-1 though, and DSG is super high stress. Hopefully my motor and new outer barrel will be in by then, but I will go ahead and make an external build list, and then not external build list, but I will make a video over the externals, and then another video over the internals on the lower portion of the gearbox. So stay tuned. It'll probably be 2 weeks, and both of those videos will be up to YouTube because I have to wait for external parts and internal parts. Mainly the motor and the MOSFET, that's what I'm waiting for. So you may see some gameplay with this, maybe not. We'll see how it works. It may just not feed. We'll see. Hopefully it's an easy system to get running. So thank you for watching, guys. If you have any questions, comment below. Again, we have an SHS tappet, SHS lightweight piston, super shooter piston head, SHS M160 spring, Lonex double O-ring metal cylinder head, and the ICS nozzle. And then this amp, I think this is an amp airsoft, or AVP, I think it's amp airsoft cylinder. I put this in here because it looks cool. It really, the port-wise, it shouldn't matter, but I'll contact people and see what port I should put, because I don't think the piston's going back far enough to reach the port anyways. So if you have any questions, comment below, though. This is ready to go. Pop in my gun. Here. I'll go ahead and put it in my lower, or upper. Slide it right on in. Looks like the gun's ready to shoot, right? Not. So waiting for some parts, so stay tuned for more videos, guys. See you later.